Welcome to The Starting Line, a look at select bills introduced during the 90th legislative session. We often hear that Minnesota is a bicycle-friendly state. With so many different opportunities of enjoying your bike, you can ride around the lakes, take your favorite bike trail, or even ride here in the city. In fact, some people in St. Paul, as in other cities, like to ride their bike to work. And sometimes it's easier to navigate around town than it is to drive your car. With all these different opportunities for biking, safety also becomes a concern. This week on The Starting Line, we take a look at House File 499. Sponsored by Representative Dwayne Quam, it would establish an urban bicycle lane use permit and a bicycle safety education program. We talked with the Republican from Byron to find out why he sponsors this legislation.
Basically, over the years, we've been doing more with Safe Routes to School. The DMC, Destination Minnesota Medical Center in Rochester, is looking at transportation plans, so they've had quite a few meetings. We have increased the amount of mixing between motor vehicles and bicycles, especially in high traffic routes. And so I said, hey, let's look and see what's out there. Do we need to improve anything? And discovered there really is no requirement for any training. There's no requirement to verify anyone knows the rules of the road. And all other conveyances say you have to be 15 for a farm permit. So there's a minimum age of when you're attentive enough to be in dangerous situations like that operating on a city street. So I said, hey, ask the revisors, let's look at motorcycles, adopt it over to bicycles, and put a nominal fee, just so we talk about fee. And that's where the bill started for discussion.
House File 499 calls for an urban bicycle lane permit. A person would have to obtain and be in physical possession of the document in order to ride in the lane. How would one obtain an urban bicycle lane permit? According to the bill, a person would have to successfully complete a bicycle safety education program, be at least 15 years of age, register the bicycle with the Commissioner of Public Safety, and pay a $5 fee, which would go to fund the safety education program and administrative costs associated with the issuance of a bicycle lane permit.
Any other conveyance on a city street, you need to have training, you need to have verification that you know the rules of the road, an exam, and then you've got a fee for your license or et cetera in order to cover the costs. We already have DPS to handle conveyances on streets. So it's an existing bureaucracy we just utilize. I mean, when mopeds came up, we did some addressing and we integrated that into the system. So the idea is to be safer, but prevent somebody from doing something unexpected by having them trained and verifying they know the rules.
Being from Greater Minnesota, how did it come about that you would sponsor a metro-specific bill?
Well, part of my district has the third largest city in the state, Rochester. We have, for the Mayo Clinic, 1 to 2 million visitors. We have a great deal of traffic and other things that we're having meetings for. And so the planning for what you're going to do, we already have existing bike lanes, bike paths, bike trails, special bridges over highways. So we've already got many of the main components. We might have to have the congestion you would have in the center of Minneapolis, but the components are there. We're looking at a large increase in the population. It's already one of the fastest cities. So let's look ahead and prevent situations that could be problematic.
While some may see this as a lot of red tape simply to use an urban bicycle lane, Representative Quam says his bill is intended to start a discussion on bicycle safety.
Out of the committee meeting, I'm sure there would be, for the age question, well, it's quite reasonable to say if accompanied by an adult or parent that you would be exempted from the regulations. In other words, a family could ride together in the bike lane. But instead of trying to draft up all the little details, I said, let's have a discussion, bring the stakeholders together, and together draft up the details that need to be done. Discuss, well, this isn't appropriate or this needs to be tweaked. And I think that's where you get a more complete, longer lasting, and all parties can buy into if you build it together. So a foundation for discussion is what the bill is. The final end product, and it could take several years, but the final end product would be everybody involved coming together and defining it. And I think we can do a good job that way.
Do you expect this bill to get a hearing?
Well, I think maybe next year because we're focusing on finance this year. But I see, probably next year, at least having an informational hearing to cover it. But that doesn't mean, I've had meetings with multiple groups, Minnesota Bike Alliance and others, and discussing so they understand what the intent is. And frankly, the dialogue will continue, and maybe next year we can have the informational and build from there. But if you don't start the discussion, you never address it unless there's a tragedy. And I'd rather not wait for a tragedy and then rush something through.
Representative Quam's bill, House File 499, has been referred to the House Transportation and Regional Governance Policy Committee. We will update you on the bill during future programs. We do have an update on a bill that we featured on the starting line last month, House File 105. Representative Jeff Backer's bill would appropriate money for the Cooper Sam's Volunteer Ambulance Award and Incentive Program. The bill was held over by the House Health and Human Services Finance Committee for possible omnibus bill inclusion. For more information on any of the bills that we feature on the starting line, you can visit the House website, www.house.mn, and choose the bill search and status option to find the bill you're looking for. Thanks for watching The Starting Line.